Hi there everyone, and welcome to Authenticity with Jera. If you are new to this stream, this is a daily, nearly daily, mostly daily, live stream that I do. My name is Jera. I run a business called The Magic of Authenticity, in which I do speaking, teaching, and coaching around authenticity and the vital nature of it for our changing society. Usually on these talks, I go over some specific skill or idea around authenticity, and I share my insights about it with you in sort of maybe it's like a tutorial type of style, a rambling tutorial type of style. But today I'm going to change it up a little bit. So as we go through the live streams, feel free to comment down below if you're joining us live. And if you're joining us on Facebook or YouTube later, feel free to put your comments down below because I would love to have this be a conversation. But today I'm going to do sort of a stream of consciousness about something that has been just so big and seems to be threading through most of my experience. So this is going to just kind of be story time, I guess, insight time. So thank you for joining me, and I hope you have your tea or coffee, and let's go ahead and get started. So today I want to talk about this thing that's been coming up for me a lot in the last, maybe since June, maybe even close to a year, where I keep being pulled back into how important it is for me to prioritize me. And that has looked like so many different things over time and through my experience in the last year. It really started with the cosmic journey that I had last year, where I felt for the very first time like completely perfect in my body. Like just looked at my body and looked at my presence in the world and was like, yes, like there's nothing vile or gross or nasty hiding in there. Like it's good. Like everything is really good. And from there on, it was like that experience gave me permission to really invest in myself, and really like, okay, this is a green light. Like I can go ahead and really dive into accepting myself and putting myself first. And my nesting partner over the last yearish, even though we've separated households now, has really been a huge support in this. He is very much about like his experience of the world and really rooting into that. And he's really helped me see why that's important for myself as well. And oh geez, it just keeps coming back over and over and over again, that the more that I am in integrity generally, and choose myself, choose my experience, choose my right to be in the world, choose my worthiness, choose my path, choose to see my path and cultivate it. Like the more I bring my focus and my consciousness to my experience and how I can contribute, all of that, the clearer I get on my presence here on earth. The more I feel in alignment with what's happening around me, like the good things that are happening around me and the avenues that I need to be traveling. And it seems really straightforward, right? That like authenticity at its core would be seeing yourself and choosing yourself. And I think that's extremely true. I just am totally blown away time and time again when that truth is born for me over and over again on a deeper and deeper level. I keep pulling layers of crap that's hiding me off and being like, oh, there I am, that's amazing, wow. And then another layer comes off and I'm like, wow. And it just keeps sort of peeling off. And the more I face my shame, the more I face my fears, the more I face my fear of success, the easier it gets to be in my body, to choose myself, to say yes to the universe as it says yes to me. English is so hard. And yeah, that it's so counterintuitive. I know there's going to be people that watch this, because I've started to gain people who watch occasionally who really, really don't agree with anything I'm saying, which is fantastic. That's great. It's the only way we have these conversations. And then I'm prepared for when what I say strikes people in a way that doesn't quite land for them. And I know this idea does not land for everybody. There's a lot of ideas that are really ingrained in especially traditional culture that that we put everybody else first, and family's always central, and government's always central, or school is the most important. These those big organized groups are have to come first, and if you choose the self, it's like you're really selfish. And I just, I used to feel that way, and there's some elements of that I'm still unburying, but I find that the more I can hold both like myself and seeing myself with integrity, like I can hold those side by side and keep them balanced, the better I feel, and the more free I feel, and the more able to be effective in the world I feel. A good example of this, and I'm going to get vulnerable here, so thank you for seeing me in my vulnerability. The biggest aspect of my life I see this in right now is being a mom, and the choices I'm making right now around being a mom. So I have wanted to be a mom my whole life. I grew up with 2 little brothers that I took care of primarily. In fact, up until 3rd grade, if you look at my report cards, I missed half the days of school because my mother was not in a position to be able to take care of them, and somebody needed to, so I stayed home often to take care of my little brothers. And I loved them to death. I wouldn't say I was the best big sister at all, and my little brothers would definitely attest to that, but I loved them dearly, and they really prepared me for really, really wanting to be a mom. And so I grew up with that idea, but knew I didn't want to have kids too early, and thought that when I got pregnant at 23, that was waited long enough. Hint, if you were thinking of having children in your early 20s, please wait until you're in your 30s. Please. It was definitely not waited. I didn't wait long enough, but I am so grateful to have my daughter. Anyway, the whole way through, I want to be a mom, and when I finally become a mom, I'm so excited, and I won't go through that whole story, but it was full of ups and downs, and have really dedicated my life to my child and what she needs, and I'm trying to balance what I need and what she needs, and really allowing like that narrative of I'm the single mom. I need to do this. I need to be the one that's in charge and figuring things out, and the one that provides her everything she needs. And that mindset, which I think the majority of moms that I meet in modern society are very involved with that narrative. And as I've gone through this process, can you hear my assistant? He's getting comfortable. As I've gone through this process in the last year of prioritizing myself, and even more so in the last several months, 3-4 months, I've realized that narrative is a story I'm attached to. See yesterday's video if you have more questions about story. And it's an excuse. It really is, because she has a dad. She has a father who has worked really, really, really hard. Props to her dad. Really, really hard to be a very healthy, stable person for her, and has finally gotten to that place where he's feeling really good, and she has a wonderful sets of grandparents up with him, and it's actually maybe I'm using this narrative, this story, to not take a chance. Maybe I'm using this limitation of being a single mom and having to do it all on my own and not having enough money and all this narrative to prevent myself from really stepping into what I'm here to do. And that was a really hard realization, but it was interesting because there's some guilt attached to it that I'm still working through. And there was a super huge sense of being relieved. It was oh wait, maybe this isn't what I thought it was. Maybe I don't have to like torture myself and barely survive for years and years and years before finally taking that leap. I mean, and this is what I tell people on a regular basis through my work, but it was interesting to see this role of like needing to be a mom and needing to be there in certain ways and needing to sacrifice and all of that as like kind of something that was an excuse for not taking a chance on myself. And so I shifted, and I just talked to her dad and her family recently, and we are making a shift to having her be with him pretty much full time, swapping our roles. So I get vacation time and he gets the majority of the time as of this summer. And so we'll transition to that point. And yeah, there are moments of panic, like, oh crap, she won't be with me and I won't be in control of everything that she experiences in the world, which is a fallacy. Like, we can't do that anyway. But, you know, just like there are those moments of panic, there are those moments of guilt. And honestly, the most overwhelming feeling I'm feeling is excitement, because I can feel the truth. I can feel the resonance of the truth inside myself that I've been making excuses. And I've been holding myself back with all of this narrative, not just around my daughter, but around a lot of things. And that I can choose to change the narrative, and I can choose to change my circumstances. I can reorganize everything in my life if I want to better support myself. And yeah, those decisions are freaking hard. There are days where I'm like, what are you thinking? You know, but the vast majority of the time, it's so clear to me that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And these decisions that are hard to make are leading to great expansive openness inside myself, but also all around me. Doors are opening and windows are opening for me to crawl through, and it's just everything is opening up and saying yes as I'm saying yes to myself. And even my relationship with my daughter, like being a single mom, having to survive all the time, not knowing where your next paycheck's going to come from, like that, just and a million other things around being that in that narrative is so stressful that I don't always love spending time with my kid. And she knows it. She can feel it. She's like, okay, you're kind of here, I guess. And I'm finding that the more time she spends at her dad's and the more like I get room to really fill up and be okay, the more I want to spend time with her. And the more I like, when I have her, I'm just like, oh my God, there you are. Let me love you. And that feels so much better than like the few moments of, oh, I love you, and most of the moments of like frustration and, oh my God, this is so hard. We don't have to do it on hard. You know, like when we choose ourselves and when we say yes to what's saying yes to us in the universe, I feel like things become so much easier. And so easy in some ways that it's like kind of hard to trust, because most of our lives are hard. And yeah, I guess maybe that's one of the most difficult, challenging parts of this is letting it be easier, letting it be more loving, letting the universe be more compassionate with me, and not thinking I have to do it on hard mode or in survival mode. And I can feel it. I can feel the changes in me. I can feel what's changing in my life, but I can also feel what's coming next. And it's beautiful. And I'm so excited and so grateful. So anyway, I'll stop rambling. I'm like master rambler. I know there's not like a skill or tool in here that you can just pull out, but hopefully me sharing my story with you of where I'm at and what it feels like is somewhat helpful, especially for parents out there. I'm hoping that something about my narrative and my shucking of my narrative can help someone else out there. That's usually how it works, right? Our voices shine light into the darkness. So I'm so glad that you helped me use my voice to shine light, and that I get to show up and do this every day. It's such a beautiful way to live. So thank you. And until tomorrow, stay authentic, everybody. Thanks.